that tighty got the best of me, so I had to let it go this week.
Oh. The tighty got the best of you?
So I had to let it go. I woke up and Pop was in first place. I said, what the hell?
Not really, not yet. He getting closer though.
I was like, wait a minute. I said, look, I gotta go back to the H2O. What the hell? Pop done over here and snuck me when I'm over here drinking.
We over here drinking and he just taking us out, huh? Oh,
straight water this week, y'all. For real. Rest of the year. I celebrate after I won, huh?
Welcome to the First 40 Sports Show with the Goon Squad. It's Black Thor, Icewater, and Puma. This is September 29th. And before we get to our topics for the week, let's preview some of our NFL picks. Ice, what kind of games or picks kind of stood out to you?
I mean, what didn't stand out? Bro, look. First of all, I'm going to just say this. I know I'm supposed to talk about the picks, but y'all, I told y'all trying to get that boy killed. 9 sacks. What the hell? Put him out there. He got to learn on the job. Y'all crazy as hell.
That was bad.
That was bad. They tried to kill him. 9 sacks. Dude, you don't do that. You don't do that. I said they're not ready. They showed you that. Then you're going to put him out there. They're not ready. Anyway, man, y'all to be ashamed of yourself. You, Black Thor, the whole damn Chicago damn, everybody trying to kill my guy.
But what I think it did, it exposed the Bears for who they really are. They don't have an offensive line. They don't have any receivers. And their coach and GM should have been fired a couple of years ago. And that's what everybody's talking about in Chicago. I don't know nationally. I know Mike Wilbon and Terry Kornheiser have been saying it. And other teams, it was a guy on ESPN. I turned on one morning and get up. He was just going off on Nagy.
Dan Orlovsky. Yeah.
And so he was dead right. He was dead right that they'd made no adjustments. They didn't take him out of the pocket. They didn't do anything and expose them. And so now people really see that maybe it wasn't Trubisky, which I think it really is. But you got a Ferrari and you don't know how to drive it. You got a Ferrari and a player and you don't know how to drive it.
And that's the sad thing about it is Fields can play, but you put him out there. They should have put Foles in the game, for real. But, they're going to still keep him out there. I don't understand it, man. I know that's football and you got to be tough. You got to learn, but you cannot learn when we don't have nobody to throw to. You cannot learn when they don't block for you. All you're doing is setting Fields up to really get hurt. And he's a trooper. He's going to go out there every time. He's not going to complain. He's not going to cry. You even saw him smiling on the sideline after them 9 sacks. I'd have been cussing out everybody. But he didn't do that. He was a man. He stood up to his thing. He took it. And all right, whatever. And thinking in the back of his mind, I knew I didn't want to come to this motherfucker.
Black, your thoughts, man?
It's interesting because I've listened to Dan Orlovsky and I agree 100%. We know something, and you said this, and I'm just thinking as you said this about the coaching and the general manager, but I believe Mike Nagy is part of the reason why Eric Bieniemy hasn't gotten a head coaching job. And I'll explain to you why. Because he was under Andy Reid. He hasn't proved anything. So they're thinking that Andy Reid is really doing all the work. And he might have done it with Mike Nagy. Because you look at Mike Nagy as he left Andy Reid's side, he hasn't shown you anything, bro. As a head coach, he's play caller, nothing. And I'm not saying Eric Bieniemy is the same, but if you see one apple come off and it's rotten, you ain't in a hurry to hire the other apple because you're just assuming Andy Reid is a mental genius when it comes to offense, and they're just basically standing there. But I think that basically showed you right there. As far as his coaching, I mean, the general manager deserved to be fired a couple years ago. Obviously, I mean, the team's if you start the season with that team, what have you been doing with your picks, realistically? But beyond that, Nagy, bro, you got to be able to coach something different than that. The game change has ebb and flows. You can't go in with your scripted game plan and just stand there and make no adjustments, bro. Peters couldn't block anybody. Guess what? Roll them out if you got to. You got to do something. I don't care if you bring them up to the sideline and you get down with a stick with your offense and you drew up a plan with a stick. You got to do something. You just can't basically, okay, I'm locked into this. And that shows me, to me, he's narrow-minded as a head coach, narrow-minded as an offensive coordinator. And if he's there by the end of the season, if he's there past midway part of the season, because it's not going to get better for the Bears. Let's be honest. So if he's still there, then basically and the Bears are coming in paying to watch, the Bears just want money, bro. They don't care about nothing else. They want a profit. They don't care about it because there's no way in the world at this point. You got other quarterbacks coming in the league that basically started and did better than that. Don't get me wrong, rookies have a hard time, but you have to have a plan. Okay, I'm gonna play through a strength. Remember when Tebow was in Chicago years ago? I think it was Chicago. I might be wrong, but the head coach is the ex-head coach of the Carolina Panthers. That was Denver. I'm sorry. Yeah. They threw out the whole playbook and said, "This is what Tebow can do. This is what we're going to do." So my point is, when you put Justin Fields in, you can't take the playbook that you had in the offseason. No, you have to take Justin Fields' strength and play to him. Any coach should know that. And that did not happen on Sunday.
Yeah, it's really kind of sad to watch. You know, a young player has to get his growing pains, things of that sort. But for them not to make any adjustments in the NFL, that smells. That really smells. It was almost as if, just like the guy on ESPN said, either you're neglecting that player and you meant to do that, or you can't coach. As simple as that.
I'm gonna take the latter.
Yeah.
Dude, 9 sacks. 9 sacks.
9 sacks.
Now, and the sad thing about it is, the Bears defense was playing decent.
Yes.
They were playing. They were getting after the quarterback. They were making some stops, which shows you that with a little offense, they might be able to win a few games.
Yeah. The word here is that if he doesn't beat Detroit, he's gone. And I suspect a lot of defensive players are going elsewhere because the Bears are nowhere near a Super Bowl team. And some of those defensive players want to get to a Super Bowl. Everybody keeps telling them they're a Super Bowl caliber defense. But, when you don't have the offense to really kind of help you kind of get to that point or get to the playoffs, I don't suspect a lot of those guys on the defensive side of the ball will stay in Chicago. And especially also, they've been begging for a new stadium for years. And now they just put down some money on a property in Arlington Heights or Harlington, the racetrack there. And I tell you when this happened, Black, when they went out to Los Angeles and played the Rams and saw that state-of-the-art, the SoFi Stadium out there, they were like, what are we playing in this shack, coming back and playing and calling this our home stadium? And so the mayor she dropped the ball on this. And if they go to Arlington, she can forget about being reelected as mayor, because people kind of pick kind of crazy things in Chicago to not reelect a mayor. And this is one of those things. All that money and revenue going out to a suburb instead of Chicago, that's going to be really bad. Now she's saying that, you know what? We want to sit down and talk with the Bears now. You had all this time to talk to the Bears about the new stadium and all this other stuff. And now you want to talk? It's too late. They're already putting the money down. They're signing the contract. They're going to buy you out as far as the lease they have at Soldier Field, and they're getting out of there. Your thoughts, Black?
Yeah, I mean, I think realistically, she dropped the ball in this area. If you're not really familiar with what goes on with new stadiums and teams wanting them, then you got to hire somebody, you got to talk to somebody, lean on somebody to get that information, because new stadiums is just, it's a wealth of new revenue. I mean, you look at the Rams, why they left St. Louis.
Yeah.
That was their home, basically. It wasn't that because the sun was better in LA. It was more money in LA. Same thing with the Raiders leaving Oakland. You don't have a better foundation for a sports franchise than what Oakland was to the Raiders. But Al Davis-son said, no, if you put me out there, I'm basically a dog with a bunch of cats running around me out there in Las Vegas in terms of capital. And that's what it means. You could be a losing franchise and you go out there and you can just be a little splash. People will come, especially if it's a warmer climate, such as Vegas and California. So in Chicago, I can only imagine where they're probably trying to go to, and basically where they're trying to go. I'm sure they're going to bring a new fan base with them. I'm sure some of the people that probably wouldn't come to Soldier Field to watch a game, they're going to come there, even if they're out of state. So it's the revenue. It's a revenue game. It's all about dollars and cents. So not understanding that as a mayor, you must bring someone else in and lean on someone to try to figure out what's going on before you kind of let them walk you out the door and just go, stump your feet and go, no, we're not doing anything, because that's what franchises do now. They force these towns and these cities to pony up money If not, we run. I mean, let's think about the Colts when they basically left out at midnight. I'm sorry, not the Colts, the Browns left out at midnight to come to Baltimore. Think about that. That was years ago.
Yeah. I mean, left in the middle of the night in trucks. It was on the East Coast by the morning. Ice, your thoughts, man?
Yeah. First of all, when you think about Chicago, when you look at the NFL is about the cash. A lot of people need to realize, okay, when you think about Cleveland, everybody's thinking about how horrible Cleveland was and things like that. But it really came down to the NFL is always trying to find ways to make money. And the easier sell for them why they really did not fight Modell moving the team to Baltimore is because of the stadium. They hated Cleveland Stadium, Municipal Stadium. It was worn down. They needed a new stadium. They were having new looks. Same way when you looked at, you said before about the Raiders moving on and just different things like that too. So in Chicago, considering that where they're moving to used to be the old racetrack for horse racetrack, which they made a lot of money out there for years in the suburbs, that's going to be an easy sell because a lot of stuff is already there. They just had to transfer some things over to start a brand new stadium. People love coming out there, but then it's a new stadium. The NFL for years have wanted to get rid of these old relics and stadiums, but they couldn't do it because of the fan base. And everybody's like, well, we never thought we'd get another team in Cleveland. I said, just calm your nerves. I said they were going to get another team in Cleveland. They just had to build a new stadium because with that fan base, the way that things were going, it was too much guaranteed money. People were salivating for a team in Cleveland, but they had to clean it up, which they did. So now as you're seeing, another team is going to head out, leave Chicago, or at least for the suburbs, so they can make more money. And now you can make it look beautiful when you go to the Chicago stadium with all of the luster. And that's what the NFL is about right now.
Yeah. Let's talk about NFL and our picks a little bit later in the show. Please stick and stay. Like, share, comment, and subscribe to our channel right here on the Goon Squad with our show, the First 40 Sports Show. But let's go to college, man. Then there were two, Alabama and Georgia. Clemson is almost out of the top 25. Ohio State dropped earlier. And so, Black, I'm going to get your eye test on college football last weekend because it seems like a lot of teams are inching up that we haven't seen in the top 10 in a long time. I'm talking about Arkansas. I'm talking about Penn State, Oregon. Notre Dame sneaks their way back up into the top 10 and Florida in the top 10. And some of the teams that we are looking to and we see all year, Clemson and Ohio State outside of the top 10. Your eye test, sir.
Yeah, I said this maybe week after week one of college. There's a lot of, maybe I'm saying this content, that top 10 to me held a lot of fakers, bro. I'm not saying there's still some figures in there going to get shaken out. And I think that's what you're seeing. Clemson should have probably never been in the top 10. I was saying adamantly, Oklahoma was not a top 10 team. It just wasn't, bro. And we saw that over the past week, and that's not a top 10 football. And I think you and I had a conversation. I said, I would not be surprised, man, at the end of this year, if that coach decided to bolt because the NFL is throwing money at him. They've been throwing money at him for the past couple of years. He just chose not to leave because he had a quarterback he believed in. I don't think he believes in this quarterback right now, bro. I don't think he believes in his team. It's going to be tough. Because if they could hire that, if they could throw money and hire the coach that Arizona has right now, and he came in the NFL with a losing record in college, you know what they could do with the quarterback, the coach from Oklahoma. But it's being shaken out. And I looked at Oregon, and Oregon is kind of real, bro. I'm not saying they're ready to knock down a title, but Oregon might be hanging around when it's all said and done, bro. Do not be surprised they're hanging around when the smoke kind of clears itself out. Right now, as we could basically see Georgia and Alabama are the top five, but I will say it's about Alabama. Don't be surprised they slip and bump their head at least once. It would not surprise me at all. Georgia is pretty strong. Kirby Smart, if I believe I have his last name correctly, came from Alabama. He has that team firing on all gears, bro. They're firing. They're ready to go. They're hungry, and they got that dog ready to bark.
Okay. Ole Miss with Lane Kiffin this weekend. That might not be a bad game to watch, and they're going up against Alabama in the afternoon. That might not be that may be a game you want to sit in and watch because Lane Kiffin always has some tricks up his sleeve, Ice. But give me your eye test first, man.
Yeah, what you're finding out is, as you mentioned, things have been moving. I told you there should be a lot more parity right now in college football. You're seeing teams move up and down. But it's not over yet, so don't get too comfortable if you're in the number 4, 5, 6, or 7 slot right now, because things are starting to pop. Oregon, of course, moved to number 3, impressive. I think I told you offline, Puma, that Oregon's definitely a team to watch out for. Their schedule's quite light the rest of the way. They might have 1 or 2 other teams that may give them a little move, kind of make you push the button for them, but we'll see. So if they do things right, they could be right there in the mix. Penn State moved to number 4. They've been playing really good football right now at this point. Cincinnati is at 7. It's like, wow. Oklahoma moved up 4 spots to 19. Baylor 4-0, and they're only 21. Yeah. But that's kind of something to really watch out for. I don't know if they believe in them, think they had easy schedules or whatnot. But things are gonna get interesting because we have Cincinnati and Notre Dame playing very soon. So some definitely game to look out for too. So it's still wide open. It's not closed yet. So don't punch your playoff tickets yet. Hint, wink, wink, because you may be going to the Fiesta Bowl.
Which isn't a bad bowl, but
it's not. No, but I'm just saying, we know it's all about the 4. Everybody know it. It's about the 4.
Yeah, it's funny you mentioned Baylor. You have Wake Forest jumping in the top 25. They move up 14 spots from last week. Baylor, you have Michigan State. Also, Michigan, they've been playing kind of a cupcake schedule, if you ask me, but they are in, ranked number 14. BYU is still steadily moving there. They move up 2 spots, and they're at 13. Ole Miss is playing Alabama. And Black, I know that I'm going to be watching the Notre Dame Cincinnati game. I want to see if Cincinnati is for real. I really do, because a lot of people are making noise about Cincinnati. But what games are you going to watch this coming weekend?
You hit the nail on the head, bro. That's the game right there, because I was watching Notre Dame, Wisconsin last week. And I really thought Wisconsin could have pulled up an upset and beat Notre Dame. But something happened where basically Notre Dame just said, you know what? We're going to put our big foot on the gas pedal. And they just kind of ran away with that. So I want to see what they do at Cincinnati.
They put it more than on the gas pedal in that game. From 33 to 41 points. That's, yeah.
I mean, most of us, honestly, we sit and wait for Notre Dame to lose. Let's be honest. We root quietly for Notre Dame to lose. And that's how I was with that game. I'm just going to speak it. But they find a way sometimes, man, to kind of surprise you and do some things. So if they can come out of this game and come out strong with Cincinnati, I have to start to kind of look at them in a different view. But, and as you said, too, I want to see if Cincinnati is real. I want to really kind of, this to me where they can really basically take Notre Dame behind the shed and do what you got to do to them and prove to people, you know what? We're about this life. So one of these 2 teams to me are going to propel and put themselves in a good light. I'm hoping that it's Cincinnati, but I'm not sure.
All right, Ice, going to you, man. Which games are you looking forward to watch this weekend?
I'll probably have to say, was it Arkansas and Georgia?
Yes.
Definitely it's going to be coming up. It should be a pretty good game, because we saw Georgia early, but we still need to see, can Georgia continue to prove that they're the real deal. Oregon and Stanford. Stanford is not really one of the top teams in the country, but they could cause some problems. I mean, you saw before, I think they played, was it UCLA early, or they beat USC early, and they kind of showed you that they had the ability to kind of cause some teams some problems. And last but not least, I'll say Iowa versus Maryland. Maryland has the younger brother, the younger Tua brother.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Iowa has been very strong playing old school football, but I want to see, can they stop the offensive attack that Maryland's been putting up lately?
Yeah, I want to take a peek also at Auburn and LSU, because LSU, after they got beat by UCLA, you haven't heard much from them, and I want to see if they can get back in the top 25. Also, I want to look at how Wisconsin rebounds from that loss to Notre Dame. They go up against Michigan. And BYU and Utah State is always a good game. It's always a good game out there in the West. The best in Utah, especially. And I tend to be up late on Saturday night, so I get to watch those games. So I'll be looking for that game. But definitely the games that you all talked about. Also, there's another game that I saw, Baylor and Oklahoma State. Baylor's coming. We forgot about Baylor, but Baylor is coming. So that should be a great game to watch. Some of the other things in college football, former coach of the Los Angeles Chargers, Anthony Lynn, they're looking for everybody, Black, to get this guy a job at USC. He's the latest person of interest at USC that they're trying to get this job to. And there's another story about Ohio State. Ice, you told me about this last week with the linebacker who just walks off the field during the game. Let's go to that story first, and then we'll go to Anthony Lynn. Ice, what's happening in Ohio State with this linebacker?
Well, the problem was, I guess, evidently he was frustrated. He was supposed to go in the game, and one of the players waved him off. And then that's when he just kind of went off and like, you mean you don't wave me off? And then he just lost it. And at that point, I guess he started to take off he took off his gloves, threw them in the stands, started to try to leave the field, wanted to take his uniform off. And then they tried to calm him down. And then they eventually, one of the assistants walked into the locker room, and he just lost it. And he put out a couple of tweets saying that he was, good luck to my teammates the rest of the way. And then he comes back and says, F Ohio State. So he's really upset. But then afterwards, I guess he called himself or whatever, and he apologized and said he messed up. But the way it went down is eventually Ohio State said he was dismissed from the team, but he still was able to hold his scholarship at least for the next semester. So hopefully by now he can graduate and still use the facilities for other stuff besides football. So, I mean, it's sad and he's probably frustrated, but the way that the linebackers have been playing, and they thought he was going to have an opportunity really to get some playing time. I don't know what happened there. They've been struggling on defense, so I don't know how the hell he wasn't able to get on the field, because the way they've been playing lately, it's really bizarre to me that he wasn't able to get some time, but it is what it is. But hopefully he can, whatever happened, he can get himself together and move on with his life, because it was a bad scene.
Yeah. Black, what are your thoughts on this story, bro?
Yes, before I start, I'm trying to figure out, is he a senior or a junior?
No, he's a senior. He'll be leaving.
Senior, okay.
Yeah.
When I came across this, man, it kind of hit me in my stomach in a pit, because, we talked about this on Sunday, and I just saw him as a little child that didn't get his way, and he's lost control, because basically, if you were kind of handled at a younger age, to handle a situation better than that, much more tactful than that. I mean, he went from A to Z in a matter of seconds, throwing the gloves in the stand. Who usually do that?
Yeah.
Professionals that are earning money to act stupid. So it tells me his head thinks he's on that level, trying to take your jersey off. And then basically, they're trying to calm you down. Then, when the tweet he puts out, he runs to social media during the game, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
During the game, bro. He's on social media. So my point is, whatever chance he had with Ohio State, or a chance he had beyond Ohio State, he put a match to it, whether he realized it or not. Because unless you can basically play like Lawrence Taylor, I'm sorry, bro. You probably put a match to basically your potential. So I was happy to see that Ohio State said, you know what, we're going to ban you or whatever, not let you play, but we're going to allow you to get your education. Because they could have basically just pushed him out the door and says, see you later. I was happy to see that. They would respect him in that sense, allow him to finish it. But outside of that, man, I think it should be a perfect example for other young men and other women in sports to realize it's not about you. It's not about where you're trying to go. There is a certain thing called team. And sometimes the team doesn't spotlight you. But as we talked about, these kids come up thinking it's all about me, because their parents have driven them, rolled them that way, to where in the back of his mind, he could be thinking, this is my shot to make an impact, all that, and they lose sight of team. So it's sad. But again, I was happy to see that Ohio State said, you know what, we're going to allow this man to finish out and get his education and hang on to a scholarship. But other than that, bro, I don't get it. I just don't get it. It's totally unprofessional, unsportsmanship. You can throw a lot of things in there, but it didn't happen. I'll venture to say that did not happen that Saturday afternoon, bro. That's been in that cat's life for a long period of time, and no one has checked him. They looked at his talents, his parents, whoever, haven't checked him, and that's how it got so far out of hand.
The two people I thought of when I saw the story, and Ice texted me the story last week, was Odell Beckham Jr. and Antonio Brown. And so when you have role models or people like that who are on a professional level acting like that and still getting a chance to play, then that gives some folks who are misguided the idea that this is how you act when things don't go your way. So we're going to put that story to rest. Hope this young man learns a lesson. If he gets a second chance, I hope he uses it wisely if he gets a second chance, because the NFL, I'm not even going to go with the story about who they're letting in the NFL again, because we've done that story too many times. And Kansas City is taking a crack at him now. But let's go to Anthony Lynn, Black. He's getting another shot, and I know you were really bad on him last year with the Los Angeles Chargers. What are your thoughts? USC says, "Hey, this is our guy now."
I like Anthony Lynn as a man, but what he stands for. He's not a head coach, bro. He's definitely not a head coach that you can put at USC to bring that team back to glory, recruitment. He doesn't have that charisma about him. I'm sorry. To me, to be a college football coach, you need some charisma along with the X and O's. That's not who he is. And it's almost seems like they're trying to grab, in my opinion, any black face that's well known from the NFL, stick them on the sideline and think that that's going to pull young black men to come to USC of talent, to come to USC maybe thinking that's still linked to the pros. And that's not the way you want to hire a coach. And I mean, if he takes it, kudos to him, congratulations. But, bro, I think sometimes you got to see where they are. And to me, if I was Anthony Lynn, I would not want to put myself in a situation where USC need to clean their doors first, clean their house first, where they hire anybody. And they're rushing to do this. They just fired a guy a couple of weeks ago. Give them a chance to kind of do some things, clean house a little bit before you run in. But again, he's not going to be an attraction to bring any talent there. And I just don't understand where I see Herm Edwards more of a college coach than him. Yeah. He can motivate men. Young men will want to be around him, be inspired, and want to go play for him. They'll play hard for him. Anthony Lynn is like a dud, bro. He's like a dud. I mean, half the people they go recruit, they probably didn't even know he was a coach in the NFL, I'll be honest with you. They're not even going to know he was. And when they find out the job he did, I just don't get it. I don't understand it. I don't get it. He'll be back on the sideline soon, like your boy Lovie Smith with a beard that needs to be cut.
Low blow on Lovie. Leave Lovie alone. How's your thoughts on Anthony Lynn?
Yeah, well, I mean, it seems like USC is going through the carousel of coaches. His name came up. They went after Bieniemy. I think Bieniemy is like, I'm going to stick real close because, we don't know what's going on with Andy Reid. So he's kind of just chilling. Plus, too, he wants to coach in the NFL. But Anthony Lynn, I don't know. I mean, he's been in the NFL for a long time as an assistant. Didn't do well as a head coach, but he's been bouncing around a lot as an assistant in the NFL. But if he does get a chance to take that job, one of the things I said, I've always said this too, because there's been some dud coaches. I mean, there's been some coaches that had the greatest personalities. You had to have dynamic assistants. You got to have a great coaching staff, assistants that will make things happen, go out, recruit, make you look good. There's been a lot of coaches like that. And then, of course, they go off and the coaches, the assistants go off and do some great things. But you got to do that. So if he does get the job, Anthony Lynn, they should have Anthony Lynn tell us who are you thinking about bringing in as your assistants. But they won't do that because they just want him. But Anthony Lynn, I know you're a head coach, you got everything together, but bruh, get you some decent assistants, man. Because sometimes when you have great assistant coaches, they can make you look good. And then, of course, you're going to get the credit because you brought them in. If nothing else, for 2-3 years, do what you got to do. And then get you a big contract and you can ride off in the sunset. And then you come back and coach special teams somewhere. I'm just trying to tell you, bro, I'm not an expert, but I watch a lot of football on TV.
Have you seen the Chargers play since that they fired him?
Yeah, they've been looking pretty good.
Woo!
Yeah, they've been looking like a whole
same
team.
Yeah. Same team, baby.
Same team, but with a year development of a quarterback. True. I'm not giving it all that is that clear, but I think the difference in their quarterback helps him too. But I agree, Lynn didn't do a great job, but he's gone now. So get off of him and let him have a new opportunity. But get some assistants, bro, please. You can see that in Chicago. Get you some assistants because you have an assistants that can make you look great. Having that North Carolina basketball, Duke basketball, got to get some quality assistants, bro. Somebody that can make the program hold strong.
Didn't he have an issue with clock management?
Yes, sir.
That was one big issue with clock management, like 2 or 3 weeks in a row with his team. But
right, but can I say this though? I mean, right. So if you don't do something well, it's a lot of people perpetrating fraud. Anyway, I'm not gonna say what I'm about to say. I'm gonna say it anyway. We had somebody perpetrating fraud in the head office of this country, right? What other people's doing, they got to do. So you got to get you some good assistant people that can control it and know what's going on. You don't have to be the smartest dude in the world to be in charge. We've seen that in this country.
Yeah,
so
we saw 4 years of that. Yeah.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And for everybody that criticize that, all I'm gonna say is I know a lot of people still smiling because they got those stimulus checks. I'm gonna leave that alone. I'm gonna get out of here.
My 401k still smiling. That's what I'm
That's what I'm saying. So look, for all you was complaining about that, you still cash them damn checks. You didn't have to cash it because it's direct deposit. Anyway, I'm drinking water this tonight.
If we gave out points in this show, it's a big difference when you're drinking and drinking water, boy. If we gave out points on this show, boy, you'd probably win the show. Anyway, let's go to our Major League Baseball report. The season is heating up, man, and the wild card races are getting tight, Ice. What's your report, sir?
Yeah, it's getting real tight. 5 games only remaining in this regular season. Can I hear a cheer from you, Black Thor?
Yes, sir, baby.
Okay. Can I get a clap?
I ain't even cook no wings tonight. I want to pay attention.
Can I get a clap from you or something? You know, look. There you go. Thank you. You ain't clapped all damn year. Why can't I get a little clap? 5 games left in the season. In the AL West, AL East, Tampa leads that division by 7 games. Yankees are still in play in the wild card. Boston's only 9 out. Yankees are 7 out. Moving on to the Central. The White Sox are in first place. They basically have secured a playoff spot. Interesting to see what happens with Tony La Russa. I told y'all came out to Tony La Russa, and daggone it, he got them in the playoffs. So you can say that you want to about the drinks and all that other stuff.
I want to buy the drink, to be honest with you.
but the White Sox will be in the playoffs, which is amazing and awesome. In the AL West, Houston is leading that division. They lead Seattle by 4.5, who's still in contention for a playoff berth. Oakland's only 7.5 out. They're still in play as well for a playoff berth. Moving over to the NL East, Atlanta's leading that division by 3.5 over Philadelphia. Atlanta's secure for the playoffs. Philadelphia is still trying to secure a wild card spot. In the Central, Milwaukee is leading that division. They're solidified in the playoff spot. St. Louis is 6 back, still fighting for a wild card spot. In the West, San Francisco leads that division by 2 games over the Dodgers. The Dodgers are 2 games back, but they also are fighting for a wild card spot. It's going to be interesting that if the Dodgers in the wild card, sometimes teams tend to, even though they're a really solid team, probably have some of the best talent in the whole daggone league, they tend to relax coming into the wild card, and they might get popped. They already won it before, and because they're not the division winner or division leader, then sometimes they might relax. So you might be able to see some very interesting games coming up in the wild card. But 5 games left, ladies and gentlemen. If you haven't done anything else, you ain't pay attention to baseball, do yourself a favor. Watch playoff baseball. It is very good to watch. I promise you that. The rest of it, I understand what you're saying, but you can see some hella 5 games when you watch playoff baseball, kind of like WNBA basketball. Anyway, I didn't say that, did I?
Your point.
Stanton's have been playing lights out. I have to apologize to him because I was thinking that the Yankees need to get rid of him. He's been popping home runs and knocking in runs for the Yankees, and it looks like they're pretty secure. We never know, though. But it is some exciting baseball at this particular time. But we'll talk about that as the 5 games really kind of get going, because I'm watching all the games. San Diego, the Dodgers. It seemed like other teams like the Baltimore Orioles are playing spoiler to teams like the Boston Red Sox and things of that sort. They haven't played well all year. All of a sudden now they want to play to upset some people. So it's kind of crazy. The WNBA, I'm Black Liz C is a tall glass of water. And I'm thirsty.
Where you been all season, bro? You just coming to find that out, bro? I'm like, look, I mean, she been a tall glass of water for years, my bro.
Oh yeah, but last night, oh my goodness.
Well, yeah, I tell you, man, this season has had some serious great things happen. You had a little stoppage for the Olympics. They came back again. I'll tip my hat to the Minnesota Olympics because they made it to the playoffs. It didn't last for long, as we know, because Candace Parker.
Eddie, say her name again.
Candace Parker.
There you go.
She decided to, and I gotta admit, man, it's amazing to think that when she was with the Sparks, the last year, Derek Fisher basically went away from her. And look what she's meant to that franchise. Look what she has meant to that franchise, bro. And not only to get them to the playoffs, basically in the semifinals, when they take on the #1 seed and do work and take the first game. I mean, congratulations to the Sky, because that says a lot. I was looking at Phoenix down on the Aces last night, and sometimes a player basically tries to bully a team and bully a win, and that's Diana Taurasi. You got to get out there. If you're not healthy, sit on the floor. Sit on the bench. Don't play. But be out there taking bad shots, doing ill-advised stuff, because you know most players in that team are not going to check you and say something to you. And she's kind of having her way doing some dumb stuff, and the coach is not even saying anything to her. And she's really hurting the team. But the Aces are basically a deep team. It's going to be it's going to be interesting if the Mercury get past them. But the semifinals are here, bro. They're playing strong. And as I said, the playoffs, they have taken it up a level. They have seriously taken up a level. They're playing well. Only thing I will kind of say about these playoffs, they have to find a way not to put it up against the NFL, bro. It's not smart to put a game up against the NFL like on a Sunday or a Thursday. You don't want to go up against the NFL. You got 2 other nights, 5 other nights to play, or maybe 4 afternoons or whatever. Try your best not to schedule games against the NFL, because people really want to pay attention, but they're not going to slide over when NFL is playing to watch you. Outside of that, man, continue to watch them and enjoy it, because these players are playing very well. They're playing hard. And you're right, man. Tall glass of water, whatever you want to call her, beautiful, beautiful, bro.
Beautiful.
I'm kind of surprised, man, because you kind of tend to go with, I thought more Kelsey Plum or something like that would be.
Yeah, I like Kelsey. Matter of fact, there's 2 things I wanted to bring up with the Aces. One thing I noticed that Bill Laimbeer is sweating on the sidelines like he's playing in the game. I don't know what's going on.
Yeah.
And when the Aces go to their bench, they speed the game up. Usually when you go to the bench, you have players that, just trying to give the first team some win. Well, it's like Kelsey, and I forget the other sister's name. When they get in the game, they speed the game up. Like there is no rest for that second team coming off in the Phoenix Mercury. It's like they can't get any time on the bench, because they're running. I mean, they're running their tongues out, and they do it on purpose.
Well, bro, realistically, this is Liz is who she is, beautiful, good player, but she slows that team down, bro. She can't get up and down the court as fast as they need her to. So when they do take her out, you're right, the thoroughbreds come on, and they look like a totally different team, just because they can't do that when she's out there. They must play more of a slower paced game, because, she's a big girl. She's a big girl, and she can't get up and down as fast as they probably want her to. So I kind of believe that's done by design. So when she comes out, and a lot of times she gets in foul trouble early, which allows those players to come in and kind of change the complexity. But it works for them, because you're right. Because when they come in, they pick up the speed, and some other teams can't match that. But sweating or not, man, Bill Laimbeer is a hell of a coach when it comes to women's basketball. And I'm not sure what he would do in the NBA, but I watched him coach in WNBA. The players, they love him. They played hard for him. He was in Detroit. They played hard for him. His X and O's are good. He's still a character now. He's still a character, even though he haven't stopped being a character. So that's sweating and stuff. Who knows if Bill Laimbeer? He might be putting water on and make him look like he's sweating.
Liz, take your time, baby. Take your time and strut up and down the court. I don't know.
Yes.
Big Puma don't mind.
You surprised me. When I read that, I was like, you got to be kidding me. Nah, I mean, I don't know what side you're anymore, bro. I don't know where to find you.
I'm incognito. You don't know. Ice, anything on the WNBA? Because I know you're taking a look at this.
Oh, yeah, no doubt. Like I said, I was pleasantly surprised by, Chicago Sky, Miss Candace Parker doing her thing. But then as I'm watching the team, I'm like, wow, they're a lot better. But to me, I love it because it shows you how much of a leader she is. And they always talked about her, whether or not she was a head case at times or whatever. But she's just showing you by her play. She's so enthusiastic, and she can do so many things. And when she's ready to play, there's not too many people going to play with her. But what I love about it is the way she's able to bring a team together. Everybody's feeding off, but they have some very good players, but they're feeding off of her. And she's not trying to act like I'm the greatest player in the world. She's simply just putting work in, and they are advancing. I mean, that's to me what makes a great basketball player. You don't have to bring the light on you because you scored 45. You can bring the light on yourself because you made the team better. That's what I love about Candace Parker and her demeanor. Plus, she a dog. Candace Parker. Only time she's just a dog. She's just tough as nails and fine as all the giddy out. Beautiful lady.
The respect I have for her is that she put in that game I saw last night. She put everything into it. She didn't leave anything out on the floor, and you gotta respect that gangster.
I just wouldn't have it to her ex-husband, bro. What was he thinking? That's what I'm saying. What was he thinking?
Hey,
because we got to deal with something in life sometime, bro. I mean, realistically.
All I'm saying, let me just say this. You never know what happens behind closed doors, bro. That's all I'm gonna say.
Sometimes you eat berries. Sometimes your food just don't taste good. But you eat it for the nutrients. That's all.
Let's move on. Ice, what's your question?
I'm messed up now. I'm trying to come back after that. What the hell?
We can go a whole nother way of that. Yeah. Join us on When Black Men Talk, and we'll.
No doubt. Anyway, so my question, of course, is about the situation that's going on with the NBA and the vaccine, right? A lot of people were talking about the fact that the NBA was really lax about the vaccine. A lot of players didn't have to get the vaccine, so they didn't have to get it, then they were really lax. But now we're seeing that the NFL made a statement that says, because apparently the city of New York, and then also the city, the surrounding area of Oakland, have mandated that when people get together, whatever, that people have to wear masks, like in certain arenas and whatnot, no, they had to be vaccinated. Let me clear it up. They had to be vaccinated, and you can't enter the building unless you're vaccinated. So with that being said, the NFL came behind it and said, look, everybody has to be vaccinated because we're going to these places like with the Brooklyn Nets or also with New York Knicks or also with the Golden State Warriors, you had to be vaccinated. So if a player sits out the games, they will not be paid. They will not be paid if they don't play, wow. It was a total different thing than what they've been dealing with before, because they were letting guys get away with it and maybe just wearing a mask and getting tested every week. But now they're saying, if you do not play in the game because you're not vaccinated, which would happen in New York, then you do not get paid. And for some, let's say, for instance, just throw a name out there, like a Kyrie Irving or Wiggins with Golden State, that could be 41 games not playing at your home building if you don't get vaccinated. Your thoughts? I'll give
it to you, Black, but Kyrie don't play 41 games in the regular season anyway, so this might just be right up his alley. But your thoughts on this, man?
You know, you got to stand for something or you'll fall for anything. And I think realistically, to me, if you're that hardcore and not getting vaccinated, then take the hit. Take the hit. If you're that strong on it, take the hit. Now, you know, myself personally, I didn't want to get vaccinated. I didn't. I mean, I really didn't want to, but when your job says to you, hey, this is what you must do if you want to be here. We need you to do this. You have to start to see it a little different. Not that I'm happy about it, but I realize I'm around a lot of different people and to where basically that's what they're saying. Not only for my protection, for the people that basically are, in a sense, providing me a paycheck. So I have to keep that in mind. So to the players, I say realistically, you know, if you want to stand hard on it, and I could stand hard and say, you know what, I'm not going to work here anymore. But I chose not to take that avenue. So my point is, I get what you want to get it done. I understand. But if you can't be in a certain place because you're not vaccinated, then suck it up and don't get paid. And keep your mouth shut. Just go about your business. Don't act like it's wrong or right, because things are different now. And it's hard to basically throw that up and go like, well, it is. When people are dying from it, bro. People are. Now, I don't necessarily say I'm 100% wanting to be vaccinated and love the vaccination, but I'm a realist and realize there are some people dying from it. People have died from it. And I think I told Pumas, a guy with my job, did not want to be vaccinated. In his, I think, early 40s, whatever, a couple of weeks ago, died from COVID. His father died 2 years later. That's reality. It is. It's reality. So when you see those things happening, at some point, you got to step out of who you are and step into reality. And sometimes we spend more time in our egos than being into reality. So like a Kyrie Irving, bro, I understand. If you don't want to be, then give up 41 paychecks. Just give it up. But don't make out to be a big deal. Just do it and go about your business. And you don't have to be vaccinated. That's the case. You can go where you can. And you don't go, you can't. But I just think it's to the point now, you should not turn to a political or controversial thing. Mm-hmm. You're going to play or you're not going to play. That's it. And let's not talk about it, because people here again are being affected by it. Some people's immune systems aren't as strong as yours or others in that nature. And you got to think of outside of yourself. You just have to. It's just not all about you.
Yeah, I can't add much to that. I will say that the NBA kind of played this really, really nice. Instead of trying to make their players do it, it's in certain cities that you play in. They are coming down with the mandate that if you want to participate and you work here, and when you are part of these sports teams, you do work for that particular city or state that you play in, because you pay taxes. Every time you play, you pay taxes there on your check. So they played it real nice to say, it's not going to be us. And so the players union can't come after us. You have to go after the states because they're mandating this. And so they kind of got, you know, a little, you know, a little kind of waiver on this. Like, it's not us. We don't really care. We'll work with you. You know, we did the bubble thing and everything, remember? But this is the state that we play in, the state that you pay taxes in, the state that you live in. And if you don't adhere to the state's mandates, then they have a right to do this. So I love the way, and I'm surprised the NFL didn't do the same thing, or maybe they will. But other sports teams like hockey teams, I know hockey is starting up again this week. So yeah, they played it really nice with the states, and maybe other states will follow through so we can get past this pandemic. But what are your thoughts, Ice?
Yeah, well, the NBA, I mean, let's just say the NFL don't play nice. They don't care. It's they make their own rules. If you can get it vaccinated or you don't, if you don't, get the hell out. That's they don't care because their helmets are on, right? Their helmets are on. You don't see the players unless you see them afterwards on the sideline. They don't care. It's just another number, another name on the back. They don't care. They're gonna do what they do. As you have said, the NBA plays nice. They're waiting for something to break before they made an announcement. They did do that. I agree with Black Thor 100%. I have some relatives that feel the same way, that they don't want to do it. I'm like, okay, that's cool. That's up to you. But it is an individual choice. You're right. The other part I don't really like about it is the fact that I watched part of the media day with Brooklyn, and Kyrie was, you know, at home, you know, kind of chiming in, you know, through video. And they kept asking me the same question like 5 times. The dude was like, look, man, I'm telling you, I'm not answering it. This is my privacy, please respect it. They kept answering questions. And I didn't like that because it's like, here, I told you, you're not gonna talk about it. And if he does get vaccinated, he's not gonna talk about it either. He doesn't have to talk about it. I mean, it is a right, something that you don't have to do. But I agree with Black Thor. If you don't want to do it, don't do it. Just stand on the principles. But I mean, that's the other part. Kuma, you and I have been talking about it too, is, man, people dying, bro. Yeah. That's the other thing. People like really dying. And then I know some of my friends that were not vaccinated. One recently got really sick, bro. Really sick. And I'm like, if the people with money are passing away, what do you think the people don't really have no money should be doing? And I think about real quick, Carl Anthony Towns. Yeah. You know, both his parents had COVID. His mom passed away. His dad passed away. He just recently revealed that he got COVID too. He caught it. He said he dropped what, 50 pounds? He was scared to death because he didn't know. You know, he was trying to follow everything in the protocol. So it's real out here, man. As one of my friends in these COVID streets, it's real. It is real out here. So, but I mean, whatever you want to do it. But I was surprised by what the NBA did, and I know Wiggins for Golden State is really out in the town with it too, and Bradley Beal. But like you say, we'll see what happens. This is my last point on this. We'll see what happens as they move forward. They get ready to go forward. But the nice little, easy little, throw some little butter and stuff on it, some nice little cherry on top of it. The NBA just kind of slow, got it by y'all, and mention this real quick to kind of soften everything. Guess who got vaccinated recently? LeBron.
LeBron, yeah.
Oh my God. Everything's okay, y'all. It's going to be okay. LeBron did it. You can do it too. Wow.
Yeah. Didn't Wiggins say he's going to fight it? I mean, who you going to fight, bro?
You just sit out 41 like Black Thor said, like Phil Jackson told Dennis Rodman. Put your check in at the basket, baby.
Pay the fine.
I ain't gonna argue. We're gonna burn some more incense and some sage. Just pay the fine. Put your check in the basket, in the hat, bro. That's all. We ain't arguing with you no more. You already know. You say you ain't doing it. Pay the fine.
Yeah. Black, what's your question?
I would stick with the NBA because, to me, during the bubble, it was all about, end racism, So you lead up to this week of opening whatever it was called, media day, all this stuff. I didn't pay attention. But I was curious to know if you two paid attention, and I didn't hear this. Did anybody have the audacity
No.
in the NBA?
I know.
Seriously, anybody during the media day, anytime, week after, whatever the case may be, said anything about the Haitians coming into this country?
No. That I heard of. No. Ice?
Nah. Nope. I did not hear that either. Nope. And you probably won't hear it either. You won't hear it. Everybody trying to play nice in the NBA. You won't hear it. Playing nice.
So here's what I noticed about the NBA, Black. If it's trending and everybody's on board with it, they're on board with it. They're gonna be on every camera, Instagram, whatever. But I haven't heard a peep of what's been happening with the Haitians at the border. Nothing. Nobody has said anything about it. And so that's the sad part about it, is that they think they're fooling people. They really think they're fooling people when they talking about they woke and they're all about civil rights and all that stuff. Maybe they're doing things in private, and I don't know. I'll give that. If folks are doing that, then kudos to you. But to use your platform means to use your platform. Anytime something happens like that, you call it out and you talk about it and you bring more awareness to it, and then you do something about it. Anything that you can do, because all hands on deck is needed in that situation. And if you're not saying anything or really paying any attention, and you just really kind of talking about, I'm playing with my boys and we're just going to win a championship and this uniform looks good on me and all this other stuff, I'm not paying attention to that. Give me something real to really kind of hang my hat on and that you can talk about to show me that you are a real one. Black, what are your thoughts, man?
No, I can't add much to what you just said, because here's what I really pissed me off a while ago, is when people started linking people like LeBron to, he's a civil right. How, bro? Because anyone could take a measuring stick, do a focus group, whatever, and find out what people are mad about, then you come out and talk about it. When you can stand up and be a leader about something like this and stand when it's not basically comfortable to say, then I have more respect for you. But like you said, it's more about, I'm with my boys, I'm going to a championship, I'm going to do this. They're clowns, bro. I mean, let's be realistic. And no, they're not fooling anyone, because everybody knows all that was just for show, and you're right. Whatever social media runs to, that's what they run to, the NBA runs to. And that's why, realistically, in my opinion, the NBA will always be the sister to the NFL. Because at least NFL sometimes will demand, we're going to do this, X, Y, Z. You may even like it, but they stand up and they do something. NBA, no, they run around, and like you said, let's get LeBron to go out there and do this. LeBron does it, then we're all good. The world's in a better place because LeBron does something. Mm-hmm. It's a joke, bro. It's really a joke. It really is.
And
it's a joke.
Also, I like to hit the journalists, because why are you letting this go? Because they sure asked about what sneakers LeBron was wearing. He was wearing the Space Jam sneakers with Bugs Bunny and all that other stuff. They asked, I'm like, this is, I'm not a child. I'm not a child. And I want to hear some real things. And I want to hear if these guys had all that to say during George Floyd and all that, wearing the t-shirts and stuff. Yes. Where are you now? Why are you so silent now?
But do me a favor. If you, just humor me if you can. Name me a real sports journalist. Name me one. No, name me two.
I'll give you those two in my second shot. Okay. Because they just did a show on them, and one of my favorite shows on ESPN, and they just did their 20th year. Where they do tackle things like this.
Okay, I'll be happy to hear it.
Last thing,
because to me, they're so controlled by the ownership. A lot of them are. They're afraid. They don't even think about saying anything. And it's a joke, man. When you got, really, and I'm not, I know always take shot ESPN, but let's be realistic, bro. You got two guys on television on Monday night that's out there talking about what? What are they doing?
Yeah.
They hired, I mean, they're so in love with names that they hired two guys. One of the guys can't even speak that well, let's be honest. He was so stupid. You see what he did on live television?
Yeah, that's all. All right, last second shot, Ice.
Wow, y'all over the place. You had to mess my last second shot up. I'm gonna just say this. You mentioned about the journalists. As I said, I watched the NBA media days, and a lot of journalists were asking Kyrie Irving about whether or not he got the vaccine and whether or not he was going to get it. My thing is, as you mentioned, and there's some more interesting subjects that we could be talking about. Like, for instance, you mentioned about what's going over in Haiti. Are you concerned about them too? Little note here, and I might be wrong. This might be total. I might be skeptical on my part, but ladies and gentlemen, this is my suggestion. The United States of America has a way of surrounding itself on causes. Every year they get a cause. We had Hands Across America. We had the issue with people being hungry and whatnot. We had AIDS. Now it's Black Lives Matter. All I'm going to say is be very careful and watch what I say. By the end of the year, it's going to turn and change into something else. That's what we do. Be careful. If you think people are still going to care at the end of the year, especially with our government, things change, bro. I might be wrong. You might tell them crazy. I ain't drinking tonight, but you still think I'm crazy. I'm good with it. Y'all take care.
Black.
I'll say this, man. I'm glad I didn't pay attention because I'd have been highly disappointed. Not because it's just they didn't speak out on hating. It's because I'm tired of seeing other grown men and grown women treat them like they're better than other average human beings, bro. And that's what, just because you can put a basketball through a hoop or you can catch your football doesn't make you better than anybody else. It just doesn't. And I'm surprised that during the pandemic, when we really found out the true people that really run this country and set the stage to found are teachers, bro. Teachers, nurses, doctors. Those are the workers, the essential workers that run this damn country, never get the attention they deserve. But if you can come out, put on a $500 pair of sneakers, have loose clothing on you, can't speak good English, can't put together a good sentence, a good paragraph, hey, and you make millions, bro, we will follow you to our death.
Yeah, my last second shot is if you haven't had a chance to watch the PTI 20, one of my favorite, if not my favorite show on ESPN, the only show I really watch is Pardon the Interruption with Mike Wilbon and Tony Kornheiser, guys who wrote for the Washington Post, and they always keep it real. Those are two journalists who always keep it real. I don't always agree with them, but I respect them immensely. I hope one day to meet them. They're my guys. They hit the stories that a lot of ESPN shows don't hit. They talk about it, and they are real. And so those are the two journalists that if a subject came up dealing with race, and it has, dealing with race, dealing with Black Lives Matter, things of that sort, they don't shy away from saying it on the show. And ESPN respects it. If you ever get a chance, they showed it last night, 20 years. Matter of fact, Tony Kornheiser said, I don't think this is going to last 3 weeks, but I'm getting paid. They gave him a guaranteed 2-year contract. He said, told the staff, I don't think this is going to last for 3 weeks, but I'm getting paid for 2 years for doing this. Good luck to the whole staff. And then it's still there 20 years. That's saying something. And if you watch that show, you notice it's different from any other show that they do. It's really different. It's, bullet point, get to the point, talk about it. And they didn't want to do it because they had a thing with TV guys and journalists. Mm-hmm. And so they didn't want to take away their the journalist integrity that they have built up over the years. And in my opinion, they haven't. They really did justice to journalism and to TV. That's our show. We will be back with the NFL picks. Stay tuned. Welcome to the NFL picks week 4, where we're going to be picking our picks. We all had a great week last week. Pop had a 14-2 record. I think you and Ice had an 11-5 record, but I upped you this week. I had a 12-4 record, and Pop says to go see Miss Rudolph. Promise her that turkey. So we'll be seeing that spider and that monkey again.
I have no idea what that means.
So tomorrow, it's an old Richard Pryor joke. Miss Rudolph. So I'm going to send Miss Rudolph a turkey tomorrow before the game. All right. So look at your Cash App, Miss Rudolph, because I need to win in these picks. Give me your summary, Black, of your picks last week and what happened in the NFL.
I'm going to 2 games that Pops basically won that I chose against. And Cincinnati against Pittsburgh is the first one, bro. Mm-hmm. And I thought about Cincinnati, but I was like, no, because usually Pittsburgh to me, usually beat Cincinnati before the game starts in their head. They just always kind of control Cincinnati in their head. And that is no longer there. And Ben Roethlisberger just can't get it done. And that's one of the games that caught me by surprise. He took the Falcons, which I thought, and I kind of thought about the Falcons too, but I thought them traveling because the Falcons played a while when they played with Tampa Bay. When they was up against, even though Tampa Bay beat them, the Falcons was in that game for a period of time, and that's what made me think about taking them. But then I was like, you know what? The Giants did well against Washington, but I probably never picked the Giants the rest of the season, bro, because I was more happy the fact that the owner came out after the end of the game, and he's pissed off that the fans are booing. Are you surprised? Yeah. Are you surprised? For what you charge and what's on that football film, and that coach is not going to make it, bro. I didn't watch the game. He's not going to make it. He's not a football coach. I'm sorry. He's not. You didn't do your due diligence in hiring a general manager or a coach. But and then the game that really got me, man, and this is the one that really got me. And this one I screwed up totally. New Orleans and New England. I showed you. That's the game that I could kick my foot into a wall and stub my toe, because when I turned to the game, it was 14. I was like, oh no. I knew I was done. I was like, what is Jameson doing? Not this week, Jameson. No, I mean, interceptions, baby, need interceptions. But those are 3 games, man, that killed my week. Like you said, the week wasn't that bad, but those are the games that kind of really just kind of took me by surprise. And I'll say this, and I'll move out the way, that the Chargers, man, keep an eye on the Chargers, bro.
Yeah.
I know we talked earlier about Anthony, but the Chargers, that's a football team, bro. And they're not afraid. That quarterback, Hilbert, I saw in this rookie season grow week after week. That team is coming. And the Chiefs are in trouble. I don't know what's going on with that defense, but the Chiefs are in some serious trouble. And I'll leave it at that. And I don't know how much longer Andy Reid's going to be coaching.
Yeah, they said he was down with
I'm not buying that, bro.
Hydrated.
I'm not buying it. They got Gatorade all on that sideline. You can't drink it. I'm not buying it, bro. There's more. If you look at the pot belly on him, does he look dehydrated?
Too many cheeseburgers. Too many cheeseburgers, not enough water.
Thank you. Come on, man. Let's talk about arteries. Let's talk about some arteries, Andy. Let's talk about that first. Cut the BS out, bro. I read that. Come on, man. Don't insult my intelligence. He dehydrated. You okay? Yeah, I'm sorry.
I just wonder who stood out to you, bro.
Man, that's crazy. Anyway, definitely the Chargers over Kansas City. I was surprised by that. I thought Kansas City would be able to make some moves. They did not. You got to give kudos to the Chargers making moves. Also, too, the Rams over Tampa Bay, man. Woo! I told you I better leave Matthew Stafford alone, boy. And he ain't that good. Matthew said, hell, y'all crazy. I've been playing with subpar talent my whole damn career. Now I got somebody to throw to. They're excited too. And the defense of the Rams stepped up as well. But I got to give it to you. You guys that talked about coming down that middle. And that after Mr. Brady, they did come. So with that being said, they did get out to time. He couldn't get it done. But the play of Baltimore lately has really been shocking me. Even though they slid by Detroit 19-17, I was surprised because they just don't look good right now. I mean, I don't know what's going on there. You're throwing the ball, the 2 things that are going to happen, throwing the ball to the tight end, right? And then also throwing it to Hollywood Brown. But other than that, they look very sketchy. Not sure how long they're going to be able to make it happen with only 2 guys you can throw to. Sound like the Bears. Anyway, moving on.
Yeah, we already talked about the game that really kind of stood out to me. But I'll tell you what, that Detroit team, that coach talking about biting kneecaps and stuff like that, they've been playing tough for the last 3 weeks. I have to give it to them. They haven't won. Well, it's almost like they're going to break through and win, and they play teams tough. And so I was surprised that Baltimore couldn't shake them. But Baltimore actually lost that game because they had a delay of game that was not called in that game. I watched that. And they should have lost that game. That should have been Detroit's first game. So I expect Detroit to come out just fighting mad, biting ankles. kneecaps and all that other stuff trying to fight for a win. Because to me, I'm being honest, if you had to, you're looking at Detroit and Chicago, I got to give it to Detroit as being the better team at this particular point. I got to give it to Detroit. They got more weapons on offense. The defense is not that great, but their offense, their defense is pretty good. The offense, I don't know. Goff is not the elite quarterback, but we'll see. We'll see this week.
Is that your pick?
You got to wait for it. You got to wait for it.
Sounds like that's your pick.
Anyway, the picking order changes this week. I go first. Icewater goes second. Pop comes third, and then Black Thor is picking last. So he gets to watch and pick and maneuver anything he wants at this particular time. So
I'm in first place no matter where you put me. So I'm not worried about it.
You tied for first place.
I've been in first place. Can you say that?
All right. So let's see. Pop had a 14-2 record last week. Black Thor had 11-5. Icewater had 11-5. I had a 12-4. The overall record is Pop and Black are tied at 31-17. Icewater has a 30-18 record, and I'm bringing up the rear with a 28-20 record. And we are doing a lot better than some of the other experts, so-called experts on TV. I ain't gonna call no names like CBS and Fox and everybody else. Anyway, let's go. The first game of the week is tomorrow, and it is Jacksonville versus Cincinnati. I am going with Cincinnati. I like Joe Burrow. I like Chase. They have been lighting it up. Your pick, Icewater.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with Cincinnati. Chase has been the guy that can't catch a cold, right? Been killing them. So they got a nice little connection between him and Burrow, LSU connection. And the Cincinnati defense has been playing a lot better. So I like Cincinnati in this game.
All right. Pop is going with Cincinnati also. And Black, who you got?
Jacksonville gives you one good quarter, and then they go run and hide. So it's an easy one for Cincinnati. I'm impressed with Cincinnati as well. All
right. Cincinnati across the board. Next game on tap is Carolina. This should be a good game. Carolina at Dallas. I'm going to go with Dallas on there. I was really impressed. Even though it was Philadelphia stinks. I was impressed with how Dallas put the defense. I'm impressed with their defense now. They seem to be doing a lot of good things, especially in the secondary. And their offense, they were pounding the ball. They pounded the Eagles out in that game, which I like to see. They're using the two-back system, but I like to see LA get the ball, and Pollard is running the ball well too. Ice, who you got?
Yeah, I'm gonna go with the Cowboys. They try to show me a little something. I'm not signed up for no Super Bowl tickets or nothing like that, but I'll just say this: they showed you.
You're the only Dallas Cowboy fan that ain't signing up for a Super Bowl ticket right now.
Nah, bro, you gotta take game by game, week by week. We're trying to get above 500, if anything else. But finally giving Ezekiel Elliott the ball in the right situation. He scores 2 touchdowns and kind of outclasses Pollard a little bit, and they even throwing the ball. Offensive coordinator, you want to win some damn games, get that man the ball. Simple as that. Anyway, Dallas.
All right. Pop is going with Dallas also. Everything is happy and glorious in Dallas world, Black, and that makes us miserable. Who you got?
Yeah, this is interesting because this is the type of game that they also find a way to lose.
That's what I was thinking, but I didn't want to cancel it.
Yeah, but McCaffrey's not. I don't think he's playing for the Carolina Panthers. And when he went out last week, their offense was shook, man. They didn't know what to do. So they're not going to much. If he's not playing, even if he was, I would still take the Cowboys. But he's not playing. That offense is going to be lost. Anytime one person is 47% of your offense, you don't have an offense, bro. I'm sorry. 47% of your offense, one man.
Yeah. Yep. Next game on tap is Cleveland at Minnesota. I was expecting Minnesota to drop one last week, and Kirk Cousins came up good 2 weeks in a row, which I'd never seen. But I'm going to go with Cleveland.
Oh, hell no. He destroyed oh, my God.
Ice. Who you got, baby?
Man, you messing up. All that stuff you talking about Cleveland, and every week you picking damn Cleveland. What the hell? Be a man. You don't like them. Don't choose them. Even Christmas. Anyway, I'm going to go with the Browns. Simply because, they don't have the greatest talent, but Beckham came up and showed a little something. And without Landry, defense is playing well. that two-back system is so nasty, man. They are really pushing it. They don't actually play great. They play ugly football like the Browns had over the years, but they're getting the job done. Cleveland.
All right. Pop is also going with Cleveland. Black, who you got?
Yeah, to me, this game here was kind of a pick'em game because even though the running back for Vikings, he's always out of there, but their backup running back is nasty too. But and believe it or not, Cousins is playing pretty efficient, good football. But I can't, even though they're home, I can't go against that two-back system with Cleveland, bro. I just seem like the coach is kind of nestling on what he really should be doing. He's kind of, really being efficient. And if he stays that way, they should win this. I'll take the Browns.
All right, it's Cleveland across the board. Next game on tap is Detroit at Chicago. I'm gonna go with Detroit. I said it earlier. I'm going with Detroit. Chicago don't even know who they're gonna start next game. But Detroit's been playing really, really tough, and they've been playing tougher than the Bears at this particular point. So I expect some bitten kneecaps and ankles and all that other stuff, but I'm going with Detroit. Ice?
With all of the criticism that has come Chicago's way, one would think that Coach Nagy will make some changes, maybe start calling the plays. But their defense is decent. They can get after some people, and they could probably get after Detroit. But the one thing that has not changed, unfortunately, Fields is going to be out there, and we have two people to throw the ball to, and that's not going to change. And Detroit has shown that they have two decent running backs, and they can pass the ball. They have one of the best tight ends in NFL football. Hawkinson is one of the best tight ends. And like you said, if your boy has the former Rams quarterback has a lot to prove. So I think this is where he's going to prove it against Chicago. One with Detroit.
All right. Pop is going with Detroit also. Black, who you got?
Yeah, this is kind of easy because Bears don't have an identity, bro. They just don't. They from top to bottom, that team has no identity. Their defense is not what it used to be. They could try, but they're not. The Lions.
All right, Detroit across the board. That's the first ever. Next game on tap. Truly, that's the first time ever we all picked Detroit. I usually pick them on Thanksgiving just because, but this is the first time ever. Houston at Buffalo. Got to go with the Bills. They've been playing really well, and they had that hiccup against the Pittsburgh Steelers. Now we're wondering how they lost against the Pittsburgh Steelers, the way Pittsburgh is playing. But got to go with the Bills at home. They have to make up for what they did with the Pittsburgh Steelers in week 1. Ice, who you got?
Yeah, you put in Houston. I mean, it's hard because if you had Tyrod Taylor, then you might want to look at it. But this young guy's trying to play quarterback. It's not his fault that they're struggling. But Buffalo at home, that's going to be a rough one. So they'll do enough defense to come on and quarterback can get moving. They'll get it done, I think, pretty easily at home. Buffalo.
All right. Pop is going with Buffalo. Black, who you got?
Yeah, I'm going Buffalo, man. And Texans, for some reason, they look like the old Raiders when it comes on defense. Man, they make some dumb plays, some penalties. You look at them. I think it was a third down play. I was watching them last week. The quarterback slid. The linebacker came in his elbow and right to his head, gave him 15 yards.
Wow.
You got to be kidding me, man. I was like, as you look at them, like, what are they doing? I know they got the new head coach, but it's like they're just on defense. They just do some bonehead things from time to time. The team in general, but easy win for Buffalo here.
All right. Next game on tap is Indianapolis, and Miami is at home. Got to go with the Miami Dolphins. We got another quarterback who really almost helped them win that game against Las Vegas last week. And this is the quarterback that was supposed to be at Indiana, but they got another quarterback in Wentz who doesn't want to play football anymore, is my opinion. He doesn't want to play. I think he's still shell-shocked from that year he got hurt. But I'm going with Miami at home in this game. Ice, who you got?
Yeah, Jacoby Brissett, man. I think this is an opportunity to show the world that I was probably the best quarterback Indianapolis should have kept, and they did not. This, it's one of them games that, you keep pointing to Tyrod Taylor when he played his old team, and you dudes get something in their mind, they start playing. And Miami at times is not really a bad team once their defense shows up. And I think they just got one of their wide receivers back too, who's on suspension for some type of substance abuse or substance protocol. But yeah, I can see Jacoby Brissett making it happen. So I choose Miami.
All right. Pop is also going with Miami. Black, who you got?
The sad thing for Brissett is they're going to do the same thing to him here, bro. As soon as Tua is ready, they're going to put him back in, and Tua should not be the quarterback of this thing.
Yeah.
It's a sad thing. It was an article. I didn't get a chance to read it where they asked the owner of the Colts, Hersey, how's he feel about Wentz? I don't know what he said in that article, but he can't. He probably didn't tell the truth because you probably realize you traded for a punk. He, like you say, he don't want to play. How you got two bad ankles, bro, in one game?
Same play.
Yeah, two. You don't want to play. You just, whatever reason, he wants to count his money. Every week he's on the injury. You don't know if he's going to play. From week one, we didn't know this guy was playing. Then he pops up on the field. It's like, come on, man. At what point you're showing this team you're not a leader? So the Dolphins should win this game easily. Easy.
All right. So Dolphins across the board. Next game, Kansas City's looking, and I said this last week, Kansas City's defense really concerns me. They're going to Philadelphia. Philadelphia had a real bad game against the Dallas Cowboys, and they're having a problem with that offensive line too, with Hurts back there, Jalen Hurts. But I got to go with Kansas City, expecting them to bounce back this game, even if they could just outscore Philadelphia. If their defense or Kansas City defense can't hold Philadelphia, I think Kansas City can do that. Ice, who you got?
Yeah, you mentioned shootout. That's a problem because Kansas City will move the ball. Travis Kelce is the MVP when it comes to fantasy football right now. So they're making it happen that way. And then, of course, you look at the running backs. But, yeah, they had too much. And Kansas City, the way that they fell short, I think they know they can't lose too many games like that, games you think they should win. So they're going to have to, I think they'll make a strong comeback and beat Philadelphia easily. So Kansas City.
All right. Kansas City is Pop's choice. Black, who you got?
Yeah, I think Kansas City's in trouble. And I said that earlier. I think what happened, I think the league has caught up with them to a degree. The good teams have caught up with them to a degree. And I don't think they're doing much anything different to basically counter that. They're just going to do what they do and just basically hope it happens. But they're making some bonehead mistakes at crucial times, which is not like a Kansas City team. And that defense is horrible, bro. Overnight, they just became a bad defense. I don't know how. It just right overnight in front of your eyes. But they'll have enough to beat the Eagles. The Eagles are trying to find themselves, and they're not really a good team. And not surprising. A quarterback that hasn't been there that long, a new coach, they're starting to, go through some adjustments. So Kansas City this should be really a good game for them to kind of get themselves back situated. But to me, their test is still waiting. They got plenty more tests for Kansas City, I'm speaking of.
Yeah, they're in last place in the AFC West. I never thought I would put my lips to say that about a Kansas City team. Next team on tap is the New York Giants versus the New Orleans Saints. New Orleans goes back home, and famous Jameis came through last week against the. I don't know why you picked New England. You said Belichick was going to give a problem. Belichick don't play. But I got to go to New Orleans in this one. Ice, who you got?
Yeah, famous Jameis back home. I watched the Giants get that damn game away.
Yeah.
Oh, I was like, come on, Giants. Only time I ever rooted for the Giants in my life. And they lost anyway. But I'm going to go with famous Jameis. I can only imagine the second touchdown he threw in the air. He starts to stumble backwards. He throws it up in the air like you used to do when you was playing street football when the rush was coming.
Yeah, I just knew that was
and the receiver just jumped up and grabbed it.
Yeah.
It was so bad that the coach ran over to him and grabbed him like, what the don't ever do that again. Coach, it was a touchdown. I don't give him. You do not do that
right
again. I'm like, wow.
Right.
So yeah, New Orleans.
Yeah, this is not street football. Pop picks New Orleans. Black, who you got?
And that's the reason why I picked the Patriots last week, because I just kind of figured Jameis was going to do what he did the week before, but he proved me wrong. And his numbers aren't nothing to write home about, but it's enough. It's enough to to carry them over, and they'll win this week. I mean, I don't the Giants is just that franchise needs to reevaluate itself, bro. It's going to be a while. It's going to be a good while, but this is what I want. I want them to have a bad season, so they're forced at the end of the season to do what they should have done last year, which is get rid of the general manager. I don't know why you got the head coach, but definitely find yourself a quarterback. You got to find yourself a quarterback and start from there.
All right. Next game on tap is Tennessee versus the New York Jets. I got to go with Tennessee. I think they'll pound and ground the New York Jets all the way up and down the field in the Meadowlands. And Jets, you ain't getting me this time. You are not getting me this time. Ice, who you got?
Yeah, too much Tennessee, too much strong football. The Jets have been struggling. It's like you're putting that rookie quarterback out there. He's trying to make some magic when he doesn't have, he just simply doesn't have the tools to make any magic. And Fitz magic is gone, so you can't blame him no more. So, so I'm about to go with Tennessee. Probably be a low-scoring affair. Derrick Henry for about 479 yards and 3 touchdowns.
It won't be low-scoring if he's running that many.
Right. But I'm going to go with Tennessee.
All right. Pop goes with Tennessee. Black, who you got?
I'm going to take Tennessee, but I will say this. Tennessee is not playing impressive football, bro. Right. I don't know if it's yet to come, but they don't look that. It looked like they didn't even have a training camp. They just showed up and started playing. The quarterback is stumbling, bumbling, and giving the ball away. So they just, to me, they're not hitting. They're not hitting yet. Hopefully they get there, but they'll win this, but they're not where they need to be. Not if they're going to try to do anything this season.
All right. Next game on tap is the Washington football team versus the Atlanta Falcons. I'm going with Washington on this one. Ice, who you got?
Oh, my God. This is horrible. This is
a tough one.
Washington and Atlanta. Oh, wow. Washington's been trying to play a little decent football. I'm trying to think now. Oh, my God. I'm going to go with Washington, too. Simply because of the fact that I watched them play. Atlanta, not 2 weeks in a row. They just cannot. They almost lost that game. Even though they're at home, they're going to find a way to lose this game because they're not using the guys properly. Matty Ice is doing commercials again. I don't know why. Yeah. But anyway, he's
a funny commercial.
Yeah, he's doing funny commercials, and he's not serious about football. So even though they're at home, I'm going to take Washington because I think Washington's going to come after with that defense.
Yeah, Pop is coming. He's coming in with Washington. I like that commercial when Matty Ice asked Ice-T, can I join you? He's like, no. Just flat out, no. Black, who you got?
Yeah, Washington, easy pick here. Atlanta, they had to really make magic to beat the Giants, and Washington defense is tough. And I think this quarterback is going to come along. He's going to start to come along and play. And they scored some points last weekend. They can score on Atlanta's defense. I'll take Washington.
I kind of like Washington's quarterback because he doesn't give up. He's a pretty tough guy. He'll make a mistake. He'll just come back and try to make up for it. Next game on tap this is going to be a good one. And it took me a long time to decide this one. Arizona versus the Los Angeles Rams. I finally decided on the Rams with their defense. And Stafford is playing like I've never seen Stafford play like this before. I've never seen him. He looks like a brand new quarterback to me. And I really like Arizona, but I just couldn't pick them because usually Arizona doesn't really play good away. And so that was the kind of tipping point that I went with Los Angeles Rams.
Change your pick.
No. Ice, who you got?
Now I'm going with the Rams, man. Matthew Stafford is balling. Deshaun Jackson is trying to get a little like he's been rejuvenated. Yeah, he's been rejuvenated. Yeah. Anyway, so I'm gonna go with the Rams. I think the defense is going to get after Arizona. Going to chase the little dude, get after the little dude, your little dude, Kyler Murray. And Darnold want to grab him up a little bit, kind of as they say, give him an understanding. Wrap him up a little bit. And so with that being said, I'm gonna choose the Rams.
Look out, baby Yoda. Papa is choosing the Rams also. Black?
Yeah, Rams were pretty impressive last week, bro. I mean, I know I took Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay like an old team last Sunday, bro. Like an old team. Tom Brady wasn't an old person all on that team, man. It's like they made that team look old. The Rams got some momentum. They got this offense is looking pretty good. Their running game came along later on in the game, but they're impressive. They might. To me, this is going to kind of set the stage for them to kind of run away with that division. I'm going to take the Rams.
All right, Rams across the board. This one's going to be a tough game, too. It's Seattle versus San Francisco. I thought Seattle was going to take one at Minnesota last week, and they just let Minnesota hang in there, and finally come out with a win. But I got to think that Seattle has to regroup, and they got to win a game, or they're going to be out the NFC picture as far as the playoffs. So I'm going with Seattle. Ice, who you got?
Oh, my God. Where's that? San Francisco?
Yes.
Woo. Garoppolo and those weapons. Seattle's lost twice, right? Twice, two games in a row. Is that correct? I think.
I believe so, yeah.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Wow. I'm gonna choose Seattle. I really want to choose San Francisco, but I think Russell Wilson 3 games in a row. I don't see that happening. Even though I think they're not playing good football right now, but I think Russell's going to find a way to get that done. And then your boy Garoppolo is it's time for him to come out the sky like Chicken Little and fall. So it's he due for a bad game.
Chicken Little, wow.
I'm go the sky's falling. Anyway, I'm going to go with Seattle.
Yeah, Papa's going with Seattle too. I was surprised they put Lance in. He ran a touchdown last week. They're putting him in the play. They were doing him just like they were doing Fields in Chicago, but they didn't throw him to the Lions like they still got Garofalo there. Black, you still riding with Garofalo, man?
Yeah, I'm gonna take him this week, man. I've watched Seattle, bro. I'm not impressed. They start off fast. They got a new offensive coordinator. Something's not clicking there. I don't think the team is happy with Russell, to be honest with you. I just don't think they're a team. I don't think they're a full team. If it's in Seattle, I might feel a little differently. But San Fran could have won that game against Green Bay. They started off real slow. They battled back. They'll take this one at home. I'll take San Fran.
They gave Aaron Rodgers too much time. 37 seconds. That's too much time. Too much time. No timeouts. And did you see what he did after he spiked the ball when they got in the field goal range? He just ran to the sidelines like, I did my job, fellas. Go in there and win the game. And that was it. And you can see Garofalo's face like, oh, shit. That was, wow. Old Aaron Rodgers. Maybe he does want to play this year. Next game on tap is Baltimore at Denver. I like the way Denver's playing. I'm going to pick Denver at home on this one. Ice, who you got?
Yeah, Teddy Bridgewater's balling. Defense is playing well, but something about that, they said that little jack-leg boy from Louisville played something about it. He found ways. You be like, what? Wait a minute, I got to go to the restroom. I'll be back. Anyway, but I'm going to choose Baltimore, man. You can't count that guy out. You can have me. The 3 of us could be his receivers. He going to find the damn way. I'm gonna go with Baltimore.
He ain't gonna throw it to us if we.
But we out. He might though. Be ready. He might. If you're a tight end, Blackthorn. Anyway, you're a tight end.
Wide receiver. Papa's picking Baltimore. Who you got, Black?
I'm taking Denver, baby. I'm just not impressed with Baltimore. Wow. I'm not impressed with them. Even when they beat Kansas City, I was happy for them, but it's just they're winning games with spit and chewing gum, bro. And I just don't. I think, huh?
A thread and needle. They
yeah.
struggling.
I think going to that elevation up into Colorado with Teddy Bridgewater, it's gonna be a little different story. I'll take the Broncos.
You know, weed is legal up there, right? Anyway, that's all I'm gonna say. Weed is legal.
I'm just gonna say this. Did you read the story I sent you guys about the woman in the what's the name?
With the bear piss?
Yeah. She burned bear piss. Started a forest fire. She has some good weed, bro.
Hey, weed is legal in Colorado. That's all I'm gonna say. Leave that right there.
All right.
Oh man. Next game on tap. This should be an interesting game. We'll see what these two teams are made of. Pittsburgh at Green Bay. I'm going with Green Bay. Not just because they won that game last week against San Francisco, but I just can't see Pittsburgh getting it together. It's going to take some time to get this team together. Ben is too old. They don't have an offensive line, and they should have me and Black have been talking about this for years. Last few months, when I talked about when he was contemplating coming back, I'm talking about Ben Roethlisberger. They should have escorted him out the door and let him go and get another quarterback. They didn't do that, and my exact words were, and go back and find the show, Pittsburgh Steelers aren't serious about winning next year. If they bring Ben Roethlisberger back and Juju Smith, they're not serious. And so I'm going with Green Bay. Ice?
Yeah, Green Bay. Aaron Rodgers tried to tell y'all, he did it with a smile too. He's like, I told you that was one game. We ain't ready to play some football. And then the game they won last week, as you said, when he ran off, he was smiling like he did his job. And he's like, I got my boy, my homeboy, my kicker, right? My right-hand man. We've been here 15 years together. He got this. I ain't worried about it. He started putting his coat on, started going to the bus. He's like, I see you at the after party, man. I won't go to that. He said, I'm gonna have a hell of a plane ride going home. That's what he did. So, but yeah, I got to go with Green Bay. The defense is playing a lot better. They're pumping it up. The guys are catching balls, and they're moving the ball on the ground as well. Pittsburgh, I don't know. They just don't have it right now. You have a lot of young players. Defense is trying to play, but we don't have offense to go along with it. It's hard because you're on the field too long. But with that being said, Aaron Rodgers has got a look in his eye, man. Like I told y'all, the hell with all y'all. So I'm going with Green Bay.
Pop is going with Green Bay also. Black Thor, who you got, man?
There's an old song back in the day about Dr. John, the right place at the wrong time. This is the wrong place for the Pittsburgh Steelers to be playing after last week, bro. You fly out to Green Bay, you don't want to go there. Aaron Rodgers on fire, bro. I think the first week is mad because he didn't get the Jeopardy gig. He's past that.
They fired the other guy. Didn't even think about him as a replacement, huh? No,
they didn't even consider him. I'm gonna take the Packers with this one.
Yeah. So that's the Packers across the board. Next game on tap is Tampa Bay versus New England. They're talking this game up a lot with Belichick and Brady, and this game means something. I don't know. I think Belichick will have something up his sleeve against Tom Brady. Maybe try to give him a little chin action or something like that. Have them guys come up the middle, just like the Rams did last week. But I just can't see.
I dare you. I dare you.
No,
I dare you.
See New England winning this game. No. Well, I'm going with Tampa Bay. Ice?
I told y'all, every time Tom have a setback, everybody want to put him in the grave. He tried to tell y'all that last year. Black Thor finally saw the light. You gotta leave Tom alone. Anyway, Tom, you gotta leave. And you think he gonna go back to New England and not do well? He gonna try to break the record for a number of touchdowns in that damn stadium. He gonna say, "This is my house." I'm trying to tell you. I'm serious. You think he gonna go back there and play nice? No, he gonna say, Belichick, I told you, we won the Super Bowl. I tried to tell you, but give me some more people to play with. We might get another one. But you gonna let me go too? How you doing, Mr. Kraft? Anyway, but he don't like the ass. Going with Tampa Bay, bro.
Yeah, Pop is going with Tampa Bay too. And Black, they picked up Richard Sherman, which I didn't think Richard Sherman would be playing. But, Tampa Bay picked up Richard Sherman. He said Tom gave him a call. The guy who you said should have another wing in the Hall of Fame, gave him a call like, hey, buddy, I need you. And he said when Tom called, there's an offer you can't refuse. So now Sherman, he might not play this weekend. He might play next weekend.
If Urban Meyer would have called him, he would have been an offer you can't refuse. Sherman's looking for anywhere, bro. Cut that out, man. Stop all that. He is burnt toast, baby. He's been burnt toast for the past 5 years. Doesn't matter who called him, but for his sake, I'm happy that he's back in the league because if not, he might have killed somebody. I mean, literally, that brother was out there, bro. Out there to be the smart individual that he is. I don't understand it totally, but you got to move beyond football at some point in your life, bro. It's more life than football. With that being said, Tampa Bay will win this. I don't know how many points. I'll be honest with you, I'm not even going to watch this game because I don't want to hear about I don't want to hear about the Patriots and Tom Brady. I don't want to hear it. I don't know who's doing it, but I just don't want to hear about it.
Wait a minute. You're all in line with Tom Brady.
No, I am. I think here again, I think what he hasn't done, yes, but they're making this out to be some hate. It's just they won Super Bowls together, bro. So what? Belichick cuts everybody. Who has it? He'll cut his mother if he could. It is what it is. It's business with Belichick. It's not that he doesn't like you, doesn't respect you. I mean, when he got rid of Ty Law years ago, remember that? Ty Law is at the top of his game. What player has Belichick basically allowed? I remember, what's the name? I can't think of his name right now. The linebacker that has the Jerry curl that's on NFL Network.
I know
mother was mad.
McGinnis.
McGinnis, yeah, they let him go when he was in his prime. And that's what the Patriots are. I don't understand. If they do it to one, you think you're different? You're just wearing the uniform, bro. And Tom Brady let's be honest. When they wanted to keep you with Garofalo, you had to go beg Kraft to stay. You didn't learn from that? So really, you thought you was immune? I mean, it's football, bro. It's a business. So it's like, put your feelings to the side, go out there, play, go about your business. But you know how these non-sports journalists are. They're more in their feelings. Who's gonna do this and that, all that. That's why I'm not gonna listen, bro. I'm not even gonna watch. I don't be part of that. I'll look at the Tampa Bay Buccaneers the following week, whoever they play the following week. But I'll take them this week to win.
Love them one week, hate them the next week.
Now, I'm just not doing a drama, bro. Football should not be a reality show. Huh?
He's to football like LeBron James to the NBA. They got to talk about him. They got to talk about him.
They don't talk about Brady the way that look. I mean, no.
I think so.
Bro, let me just say this. The NFL Network does not talk about Tom Brady all day. ESPN Network, you can put LeBron up there. You wouldn't even notice you took the ESPN initials down, bro. They're LeBron all day. Go to their app, their website. LeBron. LeBron had a cheese pizza this morning. You gotta be kidding me, bro. It's not the same. It's nowhere the same. That's one thing Paul Pierce is right about. ESPN is mandated to talk about LeBron at least once an hour. Once an hour, bro. Once an hour. And I'm surprised that Shannon Sharp is the same way, bro. Really. I think he's sleeping LeBron's uniform, Shannon Sharp. He has to, bro. You got to be kidding me. Stop it.
Last game on tap is the Las Vegas Raiders versus the Los Angeles Chargers. Raiders have been skimming by overtime, should just barely winning games. They look okay. Cards is on fire. But I got to go with the Los Angeles Chargers on this one. Ice?
Yeah, they're playing in Los Angeles with the Chargers home field or whatever.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I'm going to go with the Chargers simply because of the factor that the Raiders are up and down. And something about the Chargers in that stadium, man. They get all fired up. And they got this place rocking. Super Bowl is going to be there. Fans are really it's a beautiful stadium, too. When I looked up top and I saw all of the TVs up in the top with the screens. I was like, man, this is beautiful. I would love to go out there just to kind of hang out and see it once everything calms down. But Chargers been playing real good football and playing very strong, and they're moving the ball offensively. So I'm gonna go with the Chargers.
All right. Pop is going with Las Vegas. Black, who you got?
Woo, wow. Yeah, Chargers, man. Like I said, this is a totally different team from last year, bro. I mean, last year, they almost beat the Chiefs last year, but they kind of made some mistakes towards the end, play calling, time clock.
Management.
But this is a different football team, bro. It's a different football. They're playing with some serious energy. And I agree with you with the Raiders. I think the Raiders kind of been skimming by. They look better, but they've been kind of skimming by. And, they could have really lost to Miami, and they probably should have. But I don't think they're going to go into L.A., and beat the Chargers. And I'll take the Chargers.
I think somebody's going to figure out that they're throwing the ball to three people. I think Riggs, number 13, I forget his name, he's from Clemson, and then you got your tight end out there. And if you can play man-to-man on those guys and tighten them up, I don't think the Raiders will win. I really don't. They make too many mistakes on defense, too.
Yeah, they do. But I will say one thing. Carr is slinging it, though. He is slinging it.
He is.
He's slinging it.
He is. Welcome to Boxing with Icewater and Puma. Icewater, say it ain't so. Manny Pacquiao retires after 26 years, 8 different weight classes, man, from 108 to 150 something. And this guy is definitely a Hall of Famer if he's not in already. They should have put him in as soon as he announced it. But he said he's going to run for president. I kind of think, Ice, that he's not coming back to boxing. I think he's had enough of it. And, the game has changed a lot since he's been in the last 26 years since he's been in the game.
Yeah, but he's over 40 years old, man. I mean, seriously. I think back now to when I first saw him fight. He was a flyweight, and he fought against Juan Manuel Marquez. That was the first, that was number one fight for them, fight one, and they fought 5 times. It was one of the most amazing fights ever because he knocked down Marquez 3 times in the first round. Marquez got the ball off the seat of his pants and fought him to a draw. If you have not seen that fight, you want to see some real boxing, go back and watch that fight. But to watch him transform the way that he did, so many different weight classes, knowing that he naturally was a smaller guy and he still was putting people down like Oscar De La Hoya, Margarito, all kinds of different guys, says a lot. I'm glad he's retiring. He has nothing else to prove. He was trying to stay around, I think, to try to prove one more point. He already proved that. of course, when he took down Keith Thurman. That was enough for me. So hopefully he'll go off in the sunset, whatever, unless he comes back in the exhibition against Floyd or somebody else, which you can't really get hurt. I'm good with that, with the exhibition and entertainment section. I have a problem with that. But
exhibition, come on, man. Come on.
Hey, well, I'm just saying, why not? When he becomes president, then he fights, to raise some money for the country.
President fighting.
Well, why not? You talk about some real money on entertainment purpose. He coming in, they selling weed in the background. Yeah,
no,
anyway.
Man, you can't do that with a president, man.
Why can't you?
World leaders. He can't fight fighters no more.
Right, but then that's the whole point. That's what makes it even more better for a pay-per-view. You can even charge $100 for that. Anyway, but
Putin can fight. How about that?
That's great too. But I wish him the best. I hope he does walk away, because there's no use of taking any more punches. You have enough punches to take from a political stance, bro. So get ready, and kudos and congratulations.
Yeah, because when I think about Manny Pacquiao, you knew it was going to be a great fight. I mean, as soon as you saw that he was fighting, that he was going to bring it, and whoever the other fighter was, but better bring your lunch pail, because it was going to be a fight. And so you miss guys like that, who I think Manny's like a throwback. And one of the interesting things he said is that, he's so blessed that came from nothing. And then he has all what he has today. And so how generous he is with his money and with his talent and with his time. So all best wishes to Manny Pacquiao. Here's another story, and the new heavyweight champion. I actually saw the fight. Oh boy, has some skills from Ukraine. He does have some skills. What bothered me, Ice, is that usually every fighter knows that when you're fighting a southpaw, you have to take your left foot and put it outside of the southpaw's right foot in order to get away from that left coming down the middle, or that left jab, or that lead left. Mm-hmm. Joshua never did that in the fight. He never pawed down the jab of this guy. And it just seemed like somebody should have been in his corner saying, listen, you got to be on the outside of his right side, and to get away from that left. He never did it. He never adjusted, and he got his ass whooped.
Yeah, it was a major problem, because you think about what Alexander Usyk did, man. Guy comes in, he's basically a blown up cruiserweight, right? So that means he came up 2 divisions really to fight Joshua. And as you mentioned, the left hand was his dynamite punch. I mean, he just kept punching and punching. I think his movement as well, because he was moving around a lot of movement, right? I think that caused a lot of problems for Joshua. And Joshua was just kind of surprised by the fact that he couldn't catch him. A lot of people were saying before that Joshua was waiting to land that big bomb, but it never came. And even when he did hit him flush, Usyk just kept right back at him, kept firing right back at him. He said he called himself the boogeyman, because he's not afraid of anybody, man. He coming for you. He called himself the boogeyman, and he was the boogeyman, literally. And the sad thing about it was, and I said this before, Joshua has been receiving a lot of love from overseas, and because he had 3 of the belts, how great a champion he was. But you got to put this in perspective. I think the fact that in the last 2 years, he's lost that championship twice. The 2 guys that really supposed to be a little bit more subpar than him in talent, from a talent perspective. And with that being said, I think you just being honest, for me anyway, you got to take him down a notch. As much as they crucified Deontay Wilder for not being a boxer, not being a real fighter, some people say he's only lost 1 time, and they throwing him away on the trash heap. This is Joshua's second chance. Now he's got to redeem himself again. And every time it's like, oh, now I'll fight Wilder or Fury with no belts, because it's like, okay, but you losing your luster, bruh. You're losing your luster. I mean, can we really look at you and say you're a great fighter? You're a damn good fighter. Are you a champion? Yes, you are. But two losses in 2 years to so-called guys that were not supposed to be good as you. And when you look at it from the standpoint, the judges had it right. Yeah. Usyk hurt him in the 3rd, and the 7th, and the 12th round, and the scores didn't lie. 117, 112, 116, 112, 115, 113. There wasn't even a doubt that this was going to be close, or that Joshua had a chance to win.
Joshua wasn't even phased by it. He knew
right.
it.
And then even the promoter, you know, O'Hearns comes up and says, look, man, it wasn't this night. He's asking already about when can we do the rematch and things of that nature. And it was the first time I think that somebody closed Anthony Joshua's eye. His right eye was closed. First time in his career. So what can you say about Usyk, bro? He's nothing to him. His teeth is messed up. I mean, he's not the most beautiful person in the world, but he's from the Ukraine. He's a champion, right? He just came out there. He laid it on the line. And like he said, I'm not afraid of anybody. He came through, and it had to be ironic and kind of bizarre. After the fight, of course, one of the Klitschko brothers comes up and congratulates. He was like, okay, remember this one? Oh man, you got done anyway by a guy from the Ukraine. But we'll see what Usyk does, because there is a rematch clause, so they'll probably fight again. But this is really throwing a wrench at any plans that Anthony Joshua had, because even after Wilder and Fury fight on October 9th, even if Joshua does come back and win, we might be talking about another year. Because if I'm Usyk, I'm not fighting real quick, bro. I'm gonna take the whole year. I'm gonna see you back Labor Day. You want to fight Labor Day? I'm coming back Labor Day. Because you think about all the shows, right? Even if he doesn't speak good English, he can come to America. He can do all the shows. He can do all the stuff over there. Get all the money. Do the circuit. Get all the change. Yeah, everything. You start doing commercials and smiling with his messed up teeth and everything, bro. Just give that little crooked smile.
He'd be loved here in Chicago, which has a big Ukrainian population.
Yeah.
Here's what I want to ask you, though. Sure. Here's what I think. Anthony Joshua cannot beat Wilder or Fury. I don't think he can beat those guys. I really don't. What they bring, I don't think he can beat them. And now, as Fat Joe says, yesterday's price is not the same price as today's price with those fights that are coming. So he could have asked for top dollar. Now he's kind of tainted twice. Yesterday's price is not the same as today's price with this particular guy fighting. It loses its luster with a Joshua fight against Wilder or Fury. Whoever wins or loses, whatever. Your thoughts?
Yeah, and I agree with that 100%. And I think it changes the outlook of it, because now they're saying that they might even want to put Joshua up against somebody like a Dillian White. See, they're searching. They're trying to go backwards. It's almost like he got to come up. If he beats Usyk, then he has to come up, because now can you really respect, his talent anymore in regards to being a top-notch guy? Because again, Wilder's only lost once. And when you mentioned the factor that what could he do against one of them, I think the way that Usyk fought Joshua is the same way that Fury would fight him. But because Fury can move and he can bounce. Very good move. Yeah, he moves, and then he can hit that jab, and then if that left hand's open, he's going to deliver it. So if a Usyk can do that, what do you think Fury's going to do? Yeah, very crafty, learns how to manipulate, has different game plans and whatnot. And then all I'm gonna say about this too is, we saw too the way that that Joshua was stumbling around and falling backwards when he's getting held by a cruiserweight at 220. Yeah. Imagine what the bomb squad. Yeah, one of those.
That's what I was thinking.
It hits him flush.
Yeah.
He may not ever give up again. Now I might be putting him down and making him seem smaller than what he is, but I think he would have to have a magnificent performance. And maybe that's what he needs. Maybe I look at it this way. I think Eddie Hearn has been, we said, Colin a little bit, kind of protecting him, because Josh has been the meal ticket for quite some time, and they've been making a lot of money off of it. But I think what happens now is maybe Joshua says, okay, you guys don't believe I'm the truth. I lost again. Yes, I did. But maybe sometimes when you're on top, it takes you getting knocked down all the way to the bottom. And I say that with all respect. Remember when Ali came back, lost to Frazier?
Yeah.
And people were talking about him because he had such a long layoff, thought he was too old, didn't think he'd come back. Sometimes maybe Joshua needs a loss like this to take him all the way to the bottom where as close as can be, and then come back and show you, hey, I'm ready, I'm focused, I'm not scared, I'm going to do what I have to do. Because the one thing I think is a problem, get off this very quickly, is the fact that the last time, the fight that he lost to Ruiz, I think when he got shook up and got hurt real bad, I think he's a little still gun shy of really being hit. And I think you saw that about Usyk. Usyk had him, almost had a chance to take him out in the 12th. And I'm not sure if he's gun shy, if he's ever gotten over that knockout. But right now, Joshua didn't look well. And I say this to this point is, for all those that criticize Deontay Wilder as a boxer, what the hell was Joshua doing? He showed no boxing skills whatsoever. It's almost as if he didn't know how to box at all.
But like I said earlier, it's every fighter knows that when you fight a southpaw, you got to stay outside that foot. And he did not. I did not see him do that once in the fight. And he was susceptible to that left, the straight hand left, the combination. And it's like his corner was like, you know. And it's like it's boxing one-on-one when you find a southpaw. Everybody knows that.
They had no answers. You're absolutely right. No answers.
Yeah. So Dana White and Oscar De La Hoya are having a feud. I guess Dana White is accusing Oscar De La Hoya of faking his virus. So he virus with COVID. So Oscar De La Hoya went off on him saying, you accuse me of faking a virus that almost killed 700,000 Americans before the fight. You pathetic piece of shit. You've never even laid the line. And you completely ignored my original point I made about underpaying your fighters. So he's basically saying you underpay your fighters. And, you know, what are you going to do about that? And they've been having this war. Could you see an exhibition with Dana White and Oscar De La Hoya coming down the fight?
You know what? Dana White's a lot of things. Dana White ain't stupid, right?
Yeah.
Dana White, you probably put somebody in there to represent him. Dana White ain't fighting.
Like Vince McMahon and the WWE.
Right. Dana White ain't fighting that guy, man. Why would he? It doesn't make sense. I mean, if he was a fighter, if he would even had that, he could put somebody in his place to represent him. But nah, I think the point of it Oscar tried to make was he came for him talking about underpaying his fighters. Then of course Dana White gonna come right back at you. You know, the Oscars had some issues before with some substance abuse and things like that, and just not his company has been a little sketchy lately. So let's be real from the standpoint of when you all of a sudden when you got mad because Richard Schaefer was doing one hell of a job with running it while you were gone, got mad at him and you removed him. So I'm taking my company back. But in doing so, you lost probably the biggest piece in boxing right now. You lost Canelo.
Yeah.
You lost Canelo. And ever since then, Dana White said, I might be underpaying my fighters, but they ain't going no damn where. They ain't leaving me. They're not leaving me. They might be underpaid, but they're not leaving. In fact, they're begging to get in here. But no, I just think it's, two egos going off and Oscar feeling some kind of way because he probably did have COVID. But then two, Dana White's probably coming at him saying he faked it because the way that man did with the way he beat down Evander Holyfield, he like you can reschedule that fight, Oscar, anytime.
Well, I think also Dana White is a big Trump supporter and one of those conspiracy kind of theorists with the COVID being fake and all that other stuff. So I think that had something to do with it too. Also, I think what Dana White did was deflect to that instead of dealing with why are you underpaying your fighters, because UFC has been succeeding for a long time, and those fighters are underpaid. They were grossly underpaid compared to boxing. And then, they have kind of taken over fighting from every 2 weeks, every other week, there's a fight. And you can't tell me that the UFC is not making a lot of money off these fights, that they can pay their fighters more. Yeah,
but Dana White is like saying to himself and to the public, who the hell is Oscar De La Hoya to ask me about my business?
Yeah.
You can't even hold on to Canelo. You got the biggest prize going, the biggest draw in any type of combat sport right now. And you can hold on to him. So you had the audacity to ask me to talk about it. Of course he's going to say something crazy, which he did. Then Oscar would want to fight him and get all upset. But he said at the end of the day, which he really coming after me, he said, so how the hell did you lose Canelo? He didn't do that. He could have said, you in my business, because that to me is a little bit more relevant than it is about him faking the vaccine or whatever. That's like, at least I don't make bad business decisions. How the hell you lose Canelo? Then his radar would have went, his temperature would have went way off the scale. You really want to piss him off? That's what I would have asked.
I see a fight coming. Any other boxing news?
Yeah, we got a couple things coming up. we definitely know Tyson Fury and Wilder, October 9th. People are getting set for that. A couple other good fights coming up too. When you look on November 6th, we talked about Caleb Plant versus Canelo Alvarez in Vegas. That's going to be interesting as well. Another big fight, the one that everybody's waiting on. They're starting selling tickets already. November 20th in Las Vegas. Terrence Crawford versus Akron, Ohio's Sean Porter. I'm so excited about this fight because I've been wanting to see it for the longest time. Buddy McGirt, much love, brother. Saw you making things happen with your buddy Callum Smith. Very impressive KO. Saw you over in the corner in London.
Glad the boxer is doing better too.
Yeah.
I hope Sean Porter wins a lot of money on this fight because he needs to dress better when he's commentating these fights, man. I don't know what he's thinking about, them big ties. I don't know. He's messing up my color on my television.
Hey, that's called style, brother. What's wrong with you?
Okay, that's called, I got to readjust my contrast and bright and all that stuff on my television in order to watch a decent fight.
Hey, when they say it takes a real man to wear pink and loud colors and other stuff like that too. You remember when Michael Irvin and those guys used to wear them loud suits, them green suits with the green gaiters? Everybody can't pull that off.
I can't.
That's what I'm saying. It takes a real man to pull that out with some bright red suits. You gotta be a real man. You gotta have a je ne sais quoi to be able to pull that off. You understand what I'm saying, brother?
I don't know that language, so I'm gonna say Jane, plain Jane on that. Hey man, we'll talk next week.
Yes, sir.
Later.